organic, unpredictable, unknown, lovely, beautiful, a sense of fulfillment. This is part of the pleasures of life and not the chores of life.
Tonight on Daily Iowan TV, Iowa City children get their first experiences in politics.
And Hillary Clinton comes to town with popular pop star to ignite young voters.
It was a big weekend for Hawkeye Wrestling at Carver Hawkeye Arena.
And the women's wrestling makes a debut in Iowa City as well.
All that and more coming up.
Daily Iowan TV starts right now.
Good evening and thanks for joining us. I'm Keaton Fuller.
And I'm Nikki Crossway. Hillary Clinton visited Iowa City this past Thursday night and got a little help with her campaign from pop singer Demi Lovato. Our very own Daisy Lee has the story.
The front-runner Democratic presidential candidate Hillary Clinton spoke at the IMU this Thursday, which was her first visit to Iowa City in 2016. Demi Lovato was also invited to the event as a way to attract young voters to support Clinton. She performed 4 songs before introducing Clinton to the stage. The opening song she performed was Confident, which set the tone for the theme of the event. Demi clearly showed her stance that she is going to vote for Clinton and encouraged people to show their support at the Iowa caucus.
I don't think there's a woman more confident than Hillary Clinton.
Hillary's tone was clearly confident for her campaign and made a short recap of what she has promised throughout her campaign. She emphasized issues such as national safety, the student debt crisis, child care, and women and gay rights. She would keep the country going under Obama's policies and go forward with confidence.
Make sure we don't go back, we go forward with confidence.
Reporting from Iowa City, this is Wanja Lee from Daily Iowan TV.
The University of Iowa is planning to move forward with a new Bias Assessment Response Team, or BART. BART would be responsible for investigating complaints of racial or other biased speech on campus, focusing on instances that are not seen as a crime or violation of university's policy. The advocacy groups against BART saying that this kind of program would encourage students to report disfavored speech instead of real harassment or threats. The university says the response team will be assessing the situations. The free speech advocacy groups hope to make sure that reports are used strictly for awareness and do not take disciplinary actions against unfavorable speech.
Iowa City police have drawn a connection between a local bank robbery and bomb threat at a high school. The police announced on Friday that a suspect has been charged in connection to the threat and bank robbery that happened Tuesday. Clifton R. Brinkmeyer, 30 years old, has been charged with a threat of terrorism after the bomb threat that happened at Iowa City West High School. The bomb threat was used as a distraction tactic for the robbery of U.S. Bank. After calling the bomb threat at 8:40 a.m., Brinkmeyer robbed the bank at 9:05. Police were still near the area and stopped Brinkmeyer, who had been using a plastic gun for the robbery. If convicted of both crimes, Brinkmeyer could spend up to 15 years in prison.
This past Friday, young voters got a glimpse into the Iowa caucusing. Daily Iowans TV, Melanie Taylor had more for us.
Past Friday, elementary school students gathered at the Old Capitol Museum to experience caucusing with an entertaining twist: superheroes. Kids spent their evening learning about the primary and caucus system.
It's really important for them to start getting involved in this rhetoric early on so that they can understand the kind of impact that they'll be able to have when they're old enough to vote and participate in caucuses and primaries.
After becoming familiar with the superhero candidates, the kids cast their votes. The results? Superman winning the Republican caucus and a tie between Wonder Woman and Captain America at the Democratic caucus.
I chose Batgirl. She had the best speech.
The kids wrapped up their evening by making bumper stickers for their favorite candidate. After all, it's not caucus season without some bumper stickers. The Hawkes Mock Caucus will happen once again this Friday, the 29th. Participants can register online. This is Melanie Taylor signing off from the Old Capitol.
From concentration camp to luxury resort, a World War II concentration camp on the Montenegrin island of Mamula has sparked international outrage after plans were announced to turn it into a luxury resort. The camp was used by troops serving dictator Mussolini, where it housed an estimated 2,300 prisoners. While families of the camp's former occupants are enraged by the project, the country's government is defending their decision, stating that the project will support the local economy. The project is to be taken on by the developer Orascom, who will invest $16.3 million in the project.
17 people have died in the wake of a strong winter storm currently hitting the East Coast. New York City's Central Park saw 26.8 inches of snow, making this storm the second largest on record. New Jersey and Pennsylvania also saw close to 2 feet of snow. The deaths were the result of car crashes, hypothermia, and cardiac arrest from shoveling the snow. While the snow has subsided and the sun is now shining, state officials are warning citizens to be cautious of refreezing water that could complicate Monday commutes.
A group of about 200 Dubuque County residents are finally making their way home after being stranded on the East Coast due to blizzard conditions. The Right to Life group had 5 buses coming back from Washington, D.C. after a March for Life demonstration. However, these buses were stranded outside of Pittsburgh due to rough conditions, and the group was forced to spend the night in their vehicles. The travelers were provided with food and water thanks to the National Guard. Despite their unfortunate circumstances, came together with other stranded motorists to hold a church service along the road.
While we don't have much snow on our ground in Iowa, let's check out this week's forecast with Brad Martin in the weather studio. Brad?
Thanks, Nikki and Keaton. We have a nice week ahead. Definitely not like the snow on the East Coast. In fact, you might see the rest of the snow start to melt. Although it's still winter, that walk to class will seem a lot more manageable this week. Monday morning, there'll be a low of 29 with scattered clouds. As we look into Monday afternoon, temperatures will rise to 35 with a 30% chance of rain. In the evening, that rain will turn into snow as temperatures lower to 32 degrees. Let's take a look into our 6-day extended forecast. Tuesday, we see a cloudy high of 27 and low of 19. Wednesday, there will be a high of 31 and staying clear throughout the day. Thursday, there's a high of 38, and Friday, we keep those warm temperatures with a high of 39 and low of 31. This Saturday, expect a warm up with a high of 41. Some clouds will drift in Saturday evening as the sun sets. That's all I have in the weather studio. Back to you, Nikki and Keaton at the desk.
At 1:30 Sunday morning Alaskan time, a 7.1 magnitude earthquake hit the state. The epicenter of the event was 162 miles southwest of Anchorage, where a strong shaking could still be felt. The quake lasted around 30 seconds and was followed by 2 more earthquakes measuring in at 4.1 and 3.2. Luckily, there have been no reports of severe damage or injury, and there is no threat of tsunami.
The price of crude oil has plunged from $100 to a measly $30 a barrel. According to the U.S. Energy Information Administration, the average price of unleaded gasoline has lowered to $1.91 per gallon. While many consumers are excited over the falling prices, effects will be felt throughout the economies as well as the stock market.
Gastroschisis is a serious birth defect that is on the rise, according to the Center for Disease Control and Prevention. This serious defect, which must be fixed with surgery, causes the intestines or other organs to protrude through the abdomens of newborn babies. The defect doubled between 1995 and 2005, increasing in women of all backgrounds. While women who smoke and drink during their pregnancies have an increased risk of the defect, the cause of the condition is currently unknown.
It's official. The 2016 RAGBRAI route has been announced. This year, the route loops through southern Iowa. The route includes 8 stops, starting in Glenwood and ending in Muscatine. Such stops can be extremely beneficial for the town's local economies, averaging up to $3 million a day. The race will begin on July 23rd and end on the 30th, with an estimated 10,000 riders attending.
Well, Iowa City saw a big weekend, especially at Carver Arena.
It sure did, Nikki. Let's send it over to our people in the sports studio to find out more. Guys?
Thanks, Nikki and Keaton. This weekend, there was a lot of excitement inside Carver, beginning with wrestling.
The nation's #2 hosted #20 Purdue on this Friday night. Sports reporters Taylor Brooks and Ala Giacopoulos were there for the action.
It's been a long time coming for the Hawkeyes, a team that hasn't wrestled in Carver Hawkeye Arena in over a month. The Hawks had a great road trip, though, getting wins over Northwestern, Illinois, and Wisconsin, and bringing home a Midlands championship. The Hawks did all they could to entertain a crowd who haven't seen them since December 10th with a 39-4 victory over Purdue. With over 8,000 in attendance, the Hawks started out hot, with Gilman, Clark, Grothus, and Sorensen outscoring Purdue 49-10 in the first 4 rounds, something Tom Brands loves his team for.
I don't really say a whole lot about, feeling good about things, but I really like this team because they score points.
And a big contribution to the points scored came from Edwin Cooper Jr., who got himself a crafty first period pin.
I just rode through and held his leg, and the ref called the foul. So it's kind of quick, but it was good.
After the break, the Hawks continued their dominance, ending the contest with a Sam Stoll pin. The Hawkeyes got their 6th Big Ten win in a big way thanks to some outstanding performances. And although the Hawks scored big with 2 pins, it was a senior who stole the show this Friday night. Our own Taylor Brooks has the story.
Thanks, Alec. It's been 1 year since senior Brody Grothus wrestled inside Carver Hawkeye Arena. After injuries kept Grothus off the mat, this season needed to be special. And the best way to do that, doing one of the most difficult things any wrestler has to do, move a weight class. It was down 8 pounds to 141, a new beginning to the perfect ending as a Hawkeye. After 13 long months, Grothus put his black singlet back on at the Pat Flanagan Open 2 weeks ago. But after a disappointing 6th place, his thoughts ran wild.
Is this really worth it? What the heck am I doing? Those are the initial thoughts. But once you get back to Iowa City, I was right back in the room that night, and you flip the switch. You put it behind you, and you go, and you don't lose sight of what you're after.
And Grothus never lost sight on Friday night.
I was just thinking about before that duel, I think I was talking to Brooks. It's been a long time since I wrestled in front of these fans, and these fans, they're something special because they give you that little boost.
Taking down number 17, Danny Sabatello, was just the start of Grothus's goals.
I'm here to get a gold medal at the Big Tens and the NCAA Championships, and 2 weeks ago, getting 6th place at the Loris Open, that might make for a good story, coming back and taking first NCAA. So that's where my head's at. I got a long ways to go to get there. I know that. I'm not using this one match as saying, I'm ready to be an NCAA champion. I still got work to do.
The mindset of Grothus is exactly what head coach Tom Brands expects, and a lot of that is coming from maturity.
Well, I think patience equals maturity a lot, and he hasn't wrestled a match in over a year in Carver Hawkeye Arena. 2 weeks ago, he didn't have what he wanted. He didn't, really, what I would say, put his head down and suck his thumb. It was more about, getting better and owning it, and that's what we like.
Moving down a weight class, a lot of guys will go the other way with that. But with the way we train here, I think I'm stronger than I ever have been.
As Grothus has his eyes on the Big Ten Championship duel on March 5th and 6th, it'll be right on his home stage here in Iowa City. Reporting inside Carver Hawkeye Arena, Taylor Brooks, Daily Iowan, TV Sports.
Iowa Wrestling returns to Iowa City this Friday night against Big Ten foe Minnesota at 8 p.m.
The Hawkeye wrestling team hosted a group of special guests last week at the U.S. Women's National Wrestling Team, held their national team training camp inside the Dan Gable Wrestling Complex.
The purpose for doing the camp here was simple. National Women's Coach Terry Steiner wants his team to feel comfortable in April when they compete at Carver Hawkeye, and he also liked the idea of being around the Iowa wrestling program where his team would feel Iowa's tradition of excellent athleticism.
To determine 4 positions on the U.S. Women's Freestyle team, a special wrestle-off between 4 weight classes was held on Friday night. The 4 finalists of the 53, 58, and 63-69 kilograms will compete in the Pan American Olympic Games qualifying tournament.
The energy inside Carver continues as the Hawkeye men's basketball team took on Purdue Sunday afternoon, defeating them 83-71.
We'll have the full recap of that game on Monday's show. That's all we have in sports. Back to Nikki and Keaton at the news desk.
That's all we have for you tonight on Daily Iowan TV.
Be sure to check out our website, dailyiowan.com, for all the latest news. For Daily Iowan TV, I'm Nikki Crossway.
And I'm Keaton Fuller. Have a good night.